Why is there a picture of cats over there?
Oh, the painting?
What is the painting?
So,
I need backstory.
her friend, Marlene, she does a lot of really cool painting and drawing and things like that. She has their own kind of style, which I really like.
Is that a raccoon?
Yeah. So, Ale got a new number, her new phone, and
This is really good.
right, she was trying to find creative ways to tell her friends that she got a new phone number. So she would text some of them pretending to be someone else, and then she'd end up getting blocked by her friends and have to tell them, no, I just got a new number. But what she came up with, Marlene, is that she made a fake person who found her art online and wanted to commission her and commission something from her. So she reached out to Marlene, and it's like, I've been through all this stuff with it was like a past relationship or something. Yeah, someone from the US, and she lives in Mexico and things like that. And we sent her all these ideas. Ali and I came up with ideas to give to her so she can paint something for this fake person. And we've been talking to her back and forth for the past 2, 3, 4 weeks.
As a different person.
As a fake person.
And this entire time she is unaware of the fact that this is Ale.
Yes. And when her phone broke...
Y'all extra.
When her phone broke, she was like, oh, I need you to talk to was it brother? Yeah, I need you to talk to my brother. So Marlene didn't have my phone number. So I pretended to be this fake person's brother. And now we're talking back and forth, sending ideas. So she painted this, and Chris picked it up.
Is she aware of the fact that it's Ale?
No, not yet.
Still.
Chris picked it up.
We're real committed to this.
She dropped it off. Chris picked it up and brought it here. And Marlene is supposed to visit in October. And we're just going to have it hanging on the wall when she comes here. And she's going to see it. And it's going to be fucking great. I can't wait. So good.
Y'all crazy.
Welcome to the 80th episode of Beard Fear. My name's Zach.
Is this 80th?
Huh?
This is 80th?
80, number 80, yeah.
Oh,
20 more, and then we can stop.
My name's Paige. We're almost done.
Almost done. We made that same joke last episode.
Our servitude is almost ended to no one.
We should
but
try.
Ourselves.
We should try
You
to
think
get
so?
past 100.
You think so?
It'll be fun. This episode is on drugs. Just in general, drugs, but more like why drugs are scary, why drugs are bad, right? Because that's the whole...
Are drugs bad?
I mean, bad drugs are bad.
I mean...
Like abusing drugs is bad.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. That's fair. Okay.
So, I don't know. Drugs. I don't know. I got a beer. The reason we're doing drugs is because this episode comes out on 420. That's the only reason I wanted to do drugs. It's because this episode comes out on 420. And I found a great beer for it, which I'm excited to...
I am excited for that.
Try and talk about. But how was your week? How's
Has
life?
it been 1 week or 2 weeks since we last saw each other because
How's
we're
life
neglectful
been?
in our friendships?
We didn't record earlier this week like we wanted, so it's a little over a week. It's like a week and a half. How's your last week and a half been?
I mean, work, and that's been hectic as hell.
Are you still short-staffed?
Of course.
Are the kids still insanely
I'm honestly surprised
terrible?
they haven't tried to tie me up and sacrifice me to their little kindergarten gods.
I could see that happening.
So...
You gotta watch out for them. They're sneaky.
I just imagine that they're
quiet.
gonna get into my art cabinet, take my number 2 pencils, file them into spheres, and just back me into a corner.
Light them on fire and yeah.
Where you going, Miss Paige?
They're tiny and quiet. You gotta watch out.
And then they stab you and they say, straight to hell. They're tiny little...
She's a witch.
She's a murder. And I saw my family. Yeah, how are you doing? How have you been?
Do you have Easter plans?
Tell me about your trivial life.
Do you have Easter plans?
Yeah. My parents are doing Easter dinner.
Oh, okay.
You're going to your...
Going to my dad's.
Yeah. Easter dinner, yeah.
And bringing the sister.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. To meet them. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. My last week and a half work. Our Cellarat show was supposed to be last Saturday. That didn't happen.
Yeah. You were very good at communicating the fact that, there was a day planned, because I was going to...
There was a day planned.
Try and be there for that.
Well, okay, so the issue was we were trying to find a venue, and a lot of the venues that we used to play at either aren't there, they're closed, whatever. So we were trying to reach out to another venue, and it didn't really work out like we wanted. We haven't been getting together to practice lately, so we want to start doing that again. But it's TBD.
TBD.
Just worked a lot. This is the end of National Telecommunicator Appreciation Week,
Honestly,
whatever
I
it's
didn't even
called.
know you had a week.
Yeah, TC Week.
Good news to me.
It's called TC Week.
We're supposed to appreciate you?
Yeah, appreciate me.
I appreciate you.
It's the same week every year, the week before Easter, and it's really
Why?
cool. TC Week?
Yeah, why was it picked for that?
Oh, I don't know. It's just I have no idea. But it's really cool with our agency. Every police and fire agency brings food in. So we have just a massive amount of food, just a ridiculous amount of food. Every day is themed as far as outfits you can wear. So there's flannel day, there's fandom day.
This is really funny because this sounds a lot like Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yeah, it's pretty
we do
pretty
something
similar.
similar.
Yes, but it's great. I've been eating real either real well or real terribly, depending on how you want to look at it.
I should have gotten you a gift to appreciate
But
you.
that's okay.
Damn it.
But we got Raising Cane's, there's Panera, there's Capriati's sandwich, there's kebabs. So we've gotten a lot of really good food. It's been fun, and I've been stealing a lot of it for them. Also, every year around TC Week, there's Telecommunicator of the Year awards that go out, and they send out emails. It's who do you want to nominate for TC of the Year? I nominated.
Is this out of your agency specifically? Or
TC Week is national, but Telecommunicator of the Year is. I'm sure every agency does.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but
because it'd be much more impressive if this was out of Telecommunicator.
Yeah.
At just your agency,
nationally.
that's okay.
Yeah. But everyone goes around and they nominate people. I nominated Brenna, but I came in and Joe pulled me in his office and told me that I got it.
Why?
I don't know. Could not tell you. But my day off.
The most recent stories I've got was I fell asleep at work.
Yeah, I did do that. They made a cake. Wrote my name on it. I got a little.
Who made the cake?
I got a little. I don't know. I got a little certificate.
Got a little certificate.
I got a diploma certificate thing.
It says, Zach, damn it.
Zach, damn it.
That's it.
You did it.
You did it.
Yeah. And then
you did it.
$100 gift card from my boss.
For your boss to what?
It's a Visa.
A vanilla Visa thing,
card. Yep. So that was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I had a good day, and then
you.
we picked her up from the airport. It was fun.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a great day. That's been my week.
How long has she been here now?
It's 2 days.
Oh, that's
2 days.
it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just got here. Our brewery
There you go.
for episode 80 on drugs is from Sweetwater Brewing Company.
We've done that before, right?
No.
Oh.
Not the electronics store, Sweetwater, online retailer of electronics and music instruments. But
that's why that's familiar.
The brewing company in Atlanta, Georgia, 195 Otley Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, 30324.
An out-of-state beer.
Yep, another out-of-state beer from a state that we haven't had before. Good shit.
Start marking them on a map.
We are doing that.
Oh, hey, cool.
We've been doing that for a while. Whoops. Founded in February 1997 by Freddie Bench and Kevin McNerney in Atlanta, Georgia. They were roommates at the University of Colorado at Boulder and worked part-time cleaning kegs at a local brewery.
And they were roommates.
They were roomies.
It's fine.
It sounds like the beginning of
It's a Vine.
rom comedy. Oh, it's a Vine.
Vine.
I didn't do Vine.
No.
Bench visited Atlanta during the 96 Summer Olympics and saw an opportunity to bring a West Coast-style brewery to the southeast. Bench named the brewery after kayaking down Sweetwater Creek, a tributary of the Chattahoochee River.
The Chattahoochee?
Chattahoochee River in Georgia's Sweetwater Creek State Park, located a few miles west of the brewery. From their website, it says, "Don't float the mainstream. Sweetwater Brewery has been making tasty brews in the heart of the South since '97. What started as a pipe dream of two college buddies has turned into a dream job full of great adventures and lip-smacking beers.
Lip smacking.
What would you expect from a couple of boys with more of a hankering for beers than for books? At Sweetwater, we like to say that we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. It's not just something that we say, though. It's how we live. If you're up for a good time, come check us out at our brewery in Atlanta every spring at our Raging 420 Festival, or wherever the fishing is good in your neck of the woods. Remember, don't float the mainstream, as we all find our path in life, and drink them if you got them.
Zach, where would you say the fishing is good?
Here?
Yeah.
Probably like a river.
That-
If you just go to just find a river.
Okay.
I don't fish. Do I look like I fish? Do I look like a fisherman? A fisher boy? Boy who fishes.
From your socks to your hat, no.
The beer by Sweetwater is 420 Strain G13 IPA. A lot of 420 references.
I see that.
Because this episode's coming out then.
Strain and everything.
Yeah, this aromatic super hybrid sticky IPA
Sticky. Little sticky icky.
is first and foremost a phenomenally delicious and drinkable beer with the added bonus of an olfactory experience that mimics that of the legendary G13 Cannabis strain.
Let me tell you, if this tastes similar to weed, it's going to be funny. I'm going to laugh.
It might. The IPA,
I hope it does.
The IPA base brew has a great body, good head, and nice amount of haze at a pleasurable 6% ABV.
Me too.
To work with the malt, you do have a nice head.
Yeah.
To work with the malt bill, the brewers added some of their dankest hops. Dankest hops, bro.
When did this come out? Because this sounds like old people wrote it.
This 420 Strain G13 IPA has been out for a while.
Old people wrote this.
Probably.
Dankest.
Yep, the dankest. To work with the malt bill, the brewers added, dankest hops, Columbus and Simcoe, plus 2 dry hop additions. To achieve the aroma, our brewers found the perfect botanically sourced strain-specific terpenes.
Turpentine?
Terpenes. They're aromatic compounds found in plants.
Oh.
And married them with a proprietary natural hemp-type flavor, both perfectly complementing the hops in the IPA.
Yeah, I do that too.
Beer Advocate also says, pungent and dank aromatics on this terpene-infused IPA fill the room once the beer is opened. We went with an aggressive dry hop schedule, which interlaces nicely with the unique flavors to bring forward citrus and earthy notes, followed by a resinous finish. This one's fire.
Oh, wow.
Columbus and Simcoe in the boil and dry hop. 420 Strain G13 IPA is an American IPA. Some American IPAs, actually all the American IPAs we've had on past episodes, The Man, Junior Astronaut Juice, West Coast Wizard, Bloodline, Forest Fauna, Sex and Candy, and Villainous, were all American IPAs. I miss The Man. That was a good one. Characterized by floral, fruity, citrus-like, piney, or resinous American variety hop character, the IPA beer style is all about hop flavor, aroma, and bitterness. This has been the most entered category at the Great American Beer Festival for more than a decade, and is the top-selling craft beer style in supermarkets and liquor stores across the U.S. So, as the name implies, this is an American-style IPA. I get really confused between pale ales, IPAs, APAs, and American IPAs.
I don't pay attention to any of it.
It's too many PAs.
I don't listen.
Do you want me to tell you the difference?
No.
Okay.
Unless you wanted, if that was the thing.
I mean, I did.
Did you do the research? Okay, go ahead.
I did.
Go ahead.
I did the work, so.
Yeah, you did the work.
Pale ales are typically golden to amber colored styles of ales, which are brewed using ale yeast and predominantly pale malts. They include IPAs and APAs.
Okay.
So pale ale is like the bottom of the pyramid of, pale ales at the bottom, and then it gets more specific. Also includes blondes, Irish red ales, Scotch ales. American pale ales contain more American hops, particularly Cascade. Usually include a cleaner yeast and American 2-row malt. They're close to amber ales. They're lighter in character, more of a balance of hops and malts. Sierra Nevada was apparently the first brewery to label a beer as an APA, so they kind of pioneered that. IPAs, India Pale Ales, were widespread in England by 1815. They grew in popularity, and they were shipped to India, which is how they got their name. They're very hop-forward, stronger than pale ales. They accentuate the bitter, fruity, and floral goodness contained within hops over other elements of the flavor profile. And then there's other subcategories of IPAs, like any IPAs, New England IPAs, hazies, doubles, triples, West Coast IPAs, etc. And then American IPAs, they're similar to American pale ales with stronger and more assertive hop flavors. It's like an IPA, but they're using American ingredients. This is essentially what it comes down to. Resin, tropical fruit, grapefruit, And then it can also be split between West Coast and East Coast American IPAs. So an IPA, just imagine IPA with American ingredients. This is 6% ABV, 48 IBU, unknown SRM. Beer Advocate gave it a score of 89. Very good. It is number 1,366 in American IPAs, number 11,908 overall, and an average rating of 3.98 out of 523 ratings.
Would you ever want to go to Disney with me?
Yes.
Just random.
I would go to Disney with
I don't know
you.
why I was thinking of that.
Disney World or Disneyland?
No, Disney World.
Disney World?
Because I also want to be able to go visit some friends that I used to know.
Oh,
in
yeah, for
Florida.
sure. I've been there a few times.
Bird, you know.
It's been
One stone.
been a long time since I went to Disney. But good time. I would go.
Because I'm thinking about planning a vacation. Specifically to Disney. Like 2024, maybe. Because it's something that you have to really plan for. It's expensive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be down. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay. Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweetwater Brewing, you can follow them at Sweetwater Brew on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or go to their website, sweetwaterbrew.com. I will grab the beer.
Would she want to go?
I'm sure.
I mean, ask.
I don't think... Ale, have you been to Disney World?
Oh, it's a little can.
Yep, tiny can this time.
That's a fish. It's water themed. I get it.
Yeah, it looks like... the fish looks like it's dead.
It is bones.
Bony fish.
Bony fish. We took an already dank IPA and married it to some...
Sticky.
A strange new strain indeed.
Can conditioned for fresher taste. We made sure to put this one in the fridge so it wouldn't explode.
Check our date on the bottom of your can. 7/16/2022.
Okay.
Should I shake it?
No, I would not.
According to the Surgeon General,
Every time.
it's on every can. I wonder why.
Does it smell like weed? Yep.
When was the last time you smelled weed?
It smells like weed. 2017.
Kinda.
You want to crack it?
Hang on. I almost drank it.
Silly Paige. That's not how
That's
we do
not
things.
how we do things here. I didn't even try. I don't like the Spiegel glasses.
You don't?
No.
Why?
Because they don't clink.
No, they're less clinky. It kind of what?
Kinky.
It kind of smells like cat litter.
What did I use that as a comparison on before?
I thought it was the Metal Monkey one.
Probably. No, the Metal Monkey one I said smells like manure, and it did.
Yeah, there was a cat litter beer.
Smelled
too.
like a barn.
It's opaque, good foam, good stumps.
I mean, if you're saying it smells like kitty litter, it probably means that it smells like ammonia.
Maybe that's it.
Because there's a very high concentration of ammonia in cat piss.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm smelling then. But yeah, it smells like dank weed, bro.
I don't think I'm going to like it. I'm not impressed.
It's weird.
I can't really taste anything.
No. Another beer
Oh, wait,
where
there's the burp. There's the burp.
another beer where the smell is not found in the taste. I mean, it's
Please don't spill.
like it's crisp.
It is. I won't argue with that.
It's cold.
Yeah. But those are all things that could happen to literally any beer.
You're right.
So,
Well, it's
what are its saving qualities?
it's cold.
It was definitely in the fridge at some point.
Oh, it's liquid. It is liquid.
It's liquid. I just don't... I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying like it's so horrid that I can't drink it. I could probably chug this.
Sure.
But
It's nothing.
if it's chuggable, you know it's not good.
It's nothing too special about it.
Because I don't want to savor the flavor. I
We've
just
had-
want to get it down. I
we've
just want to
had-
be, you know...
We've had better American IPAs before. I'm trying to figure out where to put this.
10.
Space Chase German Pilsner. Well, I rated Space Chase very low.
10.
You have Clearing the Sand by Metal Monkey as 10.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 9. Do I have a 9?
Precious Little Treats.
For the love of God.
Stout, you put at a 9. Do you want to put this at an 8?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I think we got our our standings here. The best rated beer out of the last 10 episodes, another 10 down, was Bistro Smoothie. Your beer, Bistro Smoothie. No surprise there. You're picking all the good beers.
You know what? I really wish it was because I was like, I'm so informed on beer because I've been doing this for so
'cause
long.
you just randomly-
It's just gut feeling.
Yeah. Oh, that looks like a nice beer.
I'm just like, yes, grab this one.
Yeah.
Gut choice.
You put it at a 1, I put it at a 2, so it's a 1.5. Next one, Apple of My Eye, you put it at a 3, I put it at a 1. And then Lord of the Peach Rings. The worst beer, Clearing the Stand by Metal Monkey. We both gave it a 10. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. I was actually just listening to the episode, and I was just... I thought it was so funny because they both liked our post on Instagram,
Yes,
and I was
yes.
just like, wow, we really tore into that fucking beer,
They
too.
don't even listen.
They don't. They
just get
don't realize
they get
what
the
we
tag,
said.
They see the beer.
You're like, they must have loved this.
I like watching the episodes more because I get to see our reactions, just the visceral.
Is it? I'm a very emotional person in my face, so
Yeah.
I emote a lot.
Very reactive.
Yeah. This is so yellow.
Yeah, it's weird. But that's another 10 down. 80 episodes down.
We're so close to being free.
Yeah, so close to being free.
Did you want to keep doing this?
This curse. Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
I was really committed to the 100-episode drop-off.
100%.
Free.
100%. That is the beer section. Let's talk about drugs.
Yuck.
420, blaze it.
Really?
Just a brief disclaimer before we get started. Throughout this episode, we will talk about various drugs, their uses, effects, side effects, dangers, and repercussions. Beer and Fear does not condone the use or abuse of any illegal drug, substance, or narcotic, and we are not responsible for any dangers, harm, injuries, or deaths involved in the use of such substances. Please partake responsibly and at your own risk, or not at all. That's the better thing to do. Just be smart about it.
It's really funny because for forever ago, I don't know why, but I was on Wikipedia and I found a link for recreational drug use. And the picture for recreational drug use is so funny. He's just,
What the
that's the Wikipedia. He's exhaling.
He looks really surprised,
He's doing
too.
drugs.
He looks shocked.
This is what drug use looks like, kids. So I guess the topic is kind of, ambiguous. It's very...
It's vague. It's open for,
Yeah, it's very open.
Kind of go in any direction.
But recreational drug use, which is something that I partake in, is the use of a psychoactive drug to induce an altered state of consciousness, either for pleasure or for some other casual purpose or pastime. What other casual purpose is there besides pleasure?
Like a tradition? Like if you, like there are cultures that smoke like
There you
ayahuasca?
go. It's by modifying the perceptions, feelings, and emotions of the user. When a psychoactive drug enters the user's body, it induces an intoxifying effect.
Aren't we all recreational drug users? Well, people who drink coffee?
Are you asking, like, my genuine opinion of that?
Yeah. Would you agree? Would you consider that recreational drug use? Consuming caffeine?
I don't feel like caffeine really alters my mind in any way, or my emotions.
Yeah, that description you gave is a
Very
little more
different.
specific.
It's a little more on the nose
Yeah,
of drug use. Generally, recreational drugs are divided into 3 categories: depressants, drugs that induce a feeling of relaxation and calmness; stimulants, drugs that induce a sense of energy and alertness. Those don't work on me. And hallucinogens, drugs that induce perceptual distortions such as hallucination.
My favorite kinds.
What drugs have you done? Don't put this in. Just off the record.
It's marijuana
Yeah.
and LSD.
That's it.
And whatever that fake weed shit was,
What is that?
like synthetic weed.
What was that called? I'm blanking.
I don't know.
Because it was like a huge thing at gas stations. And
yeah,
stuff.
you could buy it at gas
What was it
stations.
called?
Wasn't good for you. Spice
Spice?
or K2.
K2. That's why I know it. Okay. I can't believe you've only done those 2 things. Or those 3 things.
Yeah, no, that's it. I didn't do any. I didn't do, and I don't plan to do any harder drugs.
Good choice. It's not really worth it.
It's not. No.
In popular practice, recreational drug use generally is a tolerated social behavior.
Okay.
You done?
Probably not. No.
Jesus Christ. Rather than perceived as the medical condition of self-medication. However, Come here, Kasota.
Get
your little butt over here, your little fluffy tail. What are you up to? However, heavy use of some drugs is socially stigmatized. Many people also use prescribed and controlled depressants such as opioids, along with opiates and what is it?
Benzodes.
I guess you could just say benzos.
Benzos.
It's like benzodiazepines.
Benzodiazepines.
Recreational drug use includes alcohol, commonly found in... recreational drugs include alcohol, commonly found in beer, wine, and distilled spirits, cannabis, and hashish. Nicotine, commonly found in tobacco.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, technically, okay, so caffeine, nicotine, and then what, shisha? Hookah?
Hashish.
I've done those too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're currently doing one too.
yeah. You're doing two.
Caffeine, commonly found in what?
Coffee and...
3.
Coffee.
She is bananas. Commonly found in coffee, tea, soft drinks, prescription drugs. The controlled substances listed as controlled drugs in the Single Convention of Narcotic Drugs and the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of the United Nations, and cocoa, commonly found in chocolate.
Psychotropic?
Psychotropic. Oh. What controlled substances are considered generally unlawful to possess varies by country, but usually includes methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, LSD, mushrooms, MDMA, lean, and club drugs. In 2015, it was estimated that about 5% of people worldwide aged 15 to 65, which is 158 million to 351 million,
wow.
That's a very large gap.
Yeah.
Had used controlled substances at least once.
Anywhere between 3 and 800 million.
Yeah, anywhere between those very small margin of numbers. There's a few reasons for use. Many researchers have explored the etiology. A word.
A word.
Basically the reason.
Oh, ideology?
No.
Oh.
Some of the most common theories are genetics, personality type, psychological problems, self-medication, sex, age, instant gratification, basic human need, curiosity, rebelliousness, a sense of belonging to a group, family and attachment issues, as well as history of trauma. There's actually a lot of reasons to do drugs, guys. This is just a list of all the things. Here's your justification.
Yeah, this isn't a don't do drugs podcast.
This is a do
episode,
drug podcast.
By the way.
This is a do drugs podcast.
We're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, God, don't air this. There has not been an agreement around any one single cause. Instead, experts tend to supply the biopsychosocial model. Any number of these factors are likely to influence an individual's drug use, as they are not mutually exclusive. Regardless of genetics, mental health, or traumatic experiences, social factors play a large role in exposure to and availability of certain types of drugs and patterns of drug use. According to addiction researcher Martin A. Plant, many people go through a period of self-redefinition before initiating recreational drug use. They tend to view using drugs as part of a general lifestyle that involves belonging to a subculture that they associate with heightened status and the challenging of social norms.
Gotta fit in.
Your cat's ridiculous.
She's all hyped up on something.
Plant states, from the user's point of view, there are many positive reasons to become part of the, to just be a part of drug taking, I guess.
Uh-huh.
The reasons for drug use appear to have as much to do with needs for friendship, pleasure, and status as they do with unhappiness or poverty. Becoming a drug taker to many people is a positive affirmation rather than a negative experience.
Yeah.
Anthropological research has suggested that humans may have evolved to counter-exploit plant neurotoxins. The ability to use botanical chemicals to serve the function of neurotransmitters may have improved survival rates, conferring an evolutionary advantage. A typically restrictive prehistoric diet may have emphasized the apparent benefit of consuming drugs, which had themselves evolved to imitate neurotransmitters. Chemical ecological adaptations and the genetics of hepatic enzymes have led researchers to propose that humans have shared a co-evolutionary relationship with psychotropic plants that is millions of years old.
Yeah, I was going to say people have been probably using drugs for
A very long time. There are several risks that come with recreational drug use,
No.
and they vary widely depending on the drug in question and the amount being used.
You don't say.
Yeah, I do say. Like right now. There are many factors in the environment and within the use that interact with each drug differently. Overall, some studies suggest that alcohol is one of the most dangerous of all recreational drugs. Only heroin, crack cocaine, and methamphetamine are judged to be more harmful. Alcoholic drinks, tobacco products, and other nicotine-based products, electronic cigarettes, and cannabis are regarded by various medical professionals to be the most common and widespread gateway drugs. In the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, the general onset of drinking alcohol, tobacco smoking, and cannabis smoking, as well as consumption of multiple drugs, build them. If you build them, they will come. Among young people, most frequently occurs during adolescence and within school settings.
That's how I got started.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's not how I started. Scientific studies which focus on a low-moderate level of alcohol consumption, particularly of red wine, have concluded that there can be substantial health benefits from its use, such as decreased risk of cardiovascular diseases, stroke, and cognitive decline.
Red wine. Red wine is good for you.
This claim has been disputed. Researcher David Nutt stated that these studies showing benefits for moderate alcohol consumption lacked control for the variable of what the subjects were drinking.
David Nutt?
David Nutt. Have suggested that some psychoactive drugs that may be causing less harm to fewer users include cannabis, mushrooms, LSD, and MDMA. However, these drugs are not without their own particular risks. Mm-hmm. Drug harmfulness is defined as the degree to which a psychoactive drug is harmful to a user and is measured in various ways, such as by addictiveness and the potential for physical harm. More harmful drugs are called hard drugs, and less are called soft. The term soft drug is considered controversial by its critics, as it may imply that soft drugs cause no or insignificant harm. The concept of responsible drug use is that a person can use drugs recreationally or otherwise with reduced or eliminated risk of negatively affecting other aspects of one's life and other people's lives. Advocates of this philosophy point to the many well-known artists and intellectuals who have used drugs, experimentally or otherwise. Responsible drug use becomes problematic only when the use of this substance significantly interferes with the user's daily life. Responsible drug use advocate users should not take drugs at the same time as activities such as driving, swimming, operating machinery, or other activities that are unsafe without a sober state. Responsible drug use is empanadas. I said empanadas. As a primary prevention technique in harm reduction drug policies. Harm reduction policies were popularized in the late 1980s, although they began in the 1970s counterculture when cartoons explaining responsible drug use and the consequences of irresponsible drug use were distributed to users.
Wasn't there, you said cartoons, wasn't there like a Flintstones commercial where Barney and Freddy were smoking cigarettes?
Look it up. I don't remember.
I'm almost certain
Look it up. Wow. Amazing.
Uh-huh.
In Australia, alcohol is the most widely used drug. 86.2% of Australians aged 12 years old, and over, have consumed alcohol at least once in their lifetime.
12 years old.
Compared to 34.8% of Australians aged 12 years and over who have used cannabis.
Oh.
That is such a big difference.
That is. That's surprising.
From the mid-19th century to the 1930s, American physicians prescribed cannabis sativa as a prescription drug for various medical conditions. In the 1960s, the counterculture movement introduced the use of psychoactive drugs, including cannabis. Young adults and college students reported that recreational prevalence of cannabis, among other drugs, at 20 to 25%, while the cultural mindset of using was open and curious. In 1969, the FBI reported between the years of 1966 and 1968 the number of arrests for marijuana possession, which had been outlawed throughout the United States under the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, had increased by 98%.
That's what happens. You ban something, everyone's going to want it.
Yep. Despite acknowledgement that drug use was greatly growing among America's youths during the late 1960s, surveys have suggested that only as much as 4% of the American population had ever smoked marijuana by 69.
Oh.
By 72, however, that number would increase to 12%. The number that would then double by 77.
Yeah, the 70s were a wild time.
Aren't they? The Controlled Substances Act of 1970 classified marijuana along with heroin and LSD as Schedule I drugs, i.e. having the relatively highest abuse potential and no accepted medical use. Most marijuana at that time came from Mexico, but in 1975 the Mexican government agreed to eradicate the crop by spraying it with the herbicide paraquat, raising fears of toxic side effects.
Yeah.
Colombia then became the main supplier. The zero-tolerance climate of the Ronald Reagan introduced crack to the inner city. Who are you to get upset about weed? You introduced crack to the inner city. Resulted in passage of strict laws and mandatory sentences for possession of marijuana. The war on drugs thus brought with it a shift from reliance on imported supplies to domestic cultivation, particularly in Hawaii and California. Beginning in 1982, the Drug Enforcement Administration turned increased attention to marijuana farms in the U.S., and there was a shift to the indoor growing of plants. Especially developed for small size and high yield. Mm-hmm. After over a decade of decreasing use, marijuana smoking began an upward trend once more in the early 1990s, especially among teenagers, but by the end of the decade, the upswing had leveled off well below former peaks of use. Common recreational drugs, alcohol. Most drinking alcohol is ethanol. Drinking alcohol creates intoxication, relaxation, and lowered inhibitions. It is produced by the fermentation of sugars by yeast to create wine, beer, and distilled liquor, i.e., vodka and rum.
We know all about that.
In most areas of the world, it is legal for those over a certain age, 18 in most countries. But they would like to mention alcohol withdrawal can be life-threatening.
Yeah.
Amphetamines, used recreationally to provide alertness and a sense of energy, prescribed for ADHD, narcolepsy, depression, and weight loss, a potent central nervous system stimulant. In the 40s and 50s, methamphetamine was used by Axis and Allied troops in World War II, and later on other armies and by Japanese factory workers. It increases muscle strength and fatigue resistance and improves reaction time. Methamphetamine, let's just talk about the negative stuff because all that sounds pretty important, can be neurotoxic, which means it damages dopamine neurons. As a result of this brain damage, chronic use can lead to post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Caffeine, often found in coffee, black tea, energy drinks, some soft drinks, and chocolate, is the world's most widely consumed psychoactive drug, but has only mild dependence liability for longtime users. Cannabis. Its most common forms include marijuana and hashish, which are smoked or eaten. It contains at least 85 cannabinoids. Mm-hmm. The primary psychoactive component is THC, which mimics the neurotransmitter bananas. Anandamine. I don't know. Named after the Hindu Ananda. I think that's what it is. Anandamide. Joy, bliss, and delight.
You mentioned meth.
Amphetamines.
Did you ever see that gif of Hitler on meth at at the Olympics? He is just
tweaking out, man.
Yeah.
He's just having a good old time. Look, yeah, Olympics. Cocaine. It is available as a white powder, which is sniffed into the nostrils.
Sniffed.
Or converted into a solution with water and injected. A popular derivative, crack cocaine, is typically smoked. When transformed into its freebase form, crack, the cocaine vapor may be inhaled directly. I feel like we're teaching people how to do drugs.
Oh, God. That's not good.
MDMA, commonly known as ecstasy, and then cigarettes because of the tobacco. Ketamine, which is a horse tranquilizer.
Oh, yeah.
It's used by doctors and paramedics in emergency situations for its dissociative and analgesic qualities.
Sounds right, yeah.
And illegally in the club drug scene.
Oh.
Lean, which is a liquid drug mix made when mixing cough syrup, sweets, soft drinks, and codeine.
Oh, God.
It originated in the 90s in Houston. LSD, nitrous oxide, opiates and opioids, mushrooms, tranquilizers, barbiturates, bath salts, DMT, peyote, quaaludes.
You're just saying words now.
No, these are all drugs. Quaaludes is a drug.
Yeah. I need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode.
I think you probably should. Probably a good idea. Oh, I wanted to go over some of the funny names for drugs. Bath salts, plant food, bloom, cloud9, ivory wave. These all sound like they'd be names for an actual bath salt that you are supposed, like the way you're supposed to use them. Lunar wave, Scarface, Vanilla Sky, or White Lightning.
White Lightning.
That was my nickname in high school. What are some of the effects? Some side effects are violence,
Yeah.
paranoia, agitation, hallucinations, psychosis, racing hearts, high blood pressure, chest pain, panic attacks, dehydration, kidney failure, or death. I think you should just call off work.
You ever see those videos on YouTube, people high on bath salts just
Yeah. Well, remember we literally talked about the guy that...
eating someone's face?
Yeah, we literally talked about him. We watched that video together.
Yeah, oh my God.
It's also cocaine, blow, bump, see, candy, flake, snow, toot.
Toot.
Causes increased heart rate, high blood pressure, stomach pain, nausea, a lot of other stuff. Ecstasy, Molly, MDMA. Heart rate increased, blood pressure increased, tense muscles, nausea, blurred vision, dizziness, sweating, or chills. Flocka, this designer drug, is similar to bath salts. It doesn't have any side names. I just thought it was weird that it was called Flocka. Like Waka Flocka Flame.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Heroin was brown sugar, China white,
Oh.
horse, junk, skag, skunk, smack, and white horse.
Horse and white horse.
It can cause collapsed veins, skin infections, gastrointestinal problems, kidney disease, suppressed breathing. Heroin causes a lot of problems.
Yeah, don't do that.
Did I tell you about Crocodile? That Russian drug?
I've heard of Crocodile. I remember when that was like, it blew up in the news.
It's mostly known in Russia. That's why. It's made from morphine, and it's about 10 times stronger than morphine.
Fuck.
It's a combination of codeine, iodine, gasoline, paint thinner, lighter fluid, and others. And you eject it into your bloodstream.
Who the fuck thinks of this shit?
I know. LSD, acid, blotter, hits, microdots, sugar cubes, window panes. Marijuana, blunt, bud, dope, ganja, grass, green, herb, joint, Mary Jane, reefer, hemp, hashish, boom.
Snoop Spunion.
Snoop Spunion. Methamphetamines, crystal meth, chalk, crank, and ice. Can include increased breathing, rapid heart rate, high blood pressure, increased body temperature. As well as you can lose your teeth, weight loss, skin sores.
Yeah.
A lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Confusion, insomnia. There's a bunch of others, but I'll just end it there.
Not fun stuff.
No.
I will put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode, but
Probably a good idea.
I will also say again right now. Don't do. Hey, if you want to do any of these things on your own volition,
we're not telling you to do drugs.
We're not saying that you need to do it.
But we're also not saying
we're not saying to not do
drugs.
them.
Disclaimers: don't do, but also don't not do.
You do you, bro. We're not your dad.
You're not?
No. When I was researching my section, I was wondering if there had been any reported deaths from marijuana.
Marijuana?
Because marijuana, everyone says it's one of those drugs where it's relatively safe. There's really no harmful side effects. They say it is a gateway drug, but it's not going to kill you. It's not a hard drug, right? It's not, But I wanted to see if there were any cases of people dying from marijuana, and I actually found a study. The Forensic Science International created a study. It's a case report: sudden unexpected death under acute influence of cannabis. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It has a lot of very sciencey and medical words in it, which I didn't understand when I read through it. But it talked about two different cases that they investigated and studied and came up with conclusions as to why these people died. The first person was a 23-year-old male without known relevant illnesses. He suddenly collapsed while using public transport and died after 40 minutes of unsuccessful CPR with a clinical picture of ventricular fibrillation. A small amount of marijuana was found in his pockets. And ultimately they deduced that it says, as there's no known medical history and both cardiac chambers showed normal thicknesses, we assume a dilatative cardiomyopathy as explanation for the hypertrophy of the cardiac muscle. We concluded that death occurred most possibly due to cardiac arrhythmia with cardiac hypertrophy and consecutive stasis-associated thrombus formation of a small cardiac vessel under the acute influence of cannabis. Basically, he smoked cannabis, and for whatever reason, his body didn't like it and said, nah, bro.
He had an allergic reaction.
Yeah? Yeah? Is that what it is? Yeah, they did an autopsy. They found that he had pretty normal health, no medical history, and just collapsed. And there was another one, a 28-year-old male with a history of substance abuse, alcohol, amphetamines, and cocaine until about 2 years before his death, occasionally cannabis. So he had a substance history, but without known cardiovascular diseases, was found dead at a home by his girlfriend. Next to the body, an ashtray, rolling paper, and a sealable plastic bag containing remnants of marijuana were found.
Okay, well, this just sounds like it was staged.
For like an anti-drug
How suspicious.
commercial. Yeah.
Interesting.
They concluded that death occurred due to acute global cardiac failure.
Acute.
It's so super cute.
What acute cardio failure.
Global cardiac failure under the acute influence of cannabis. So I have this article. I'm going to try and get through it quick. It is about a medical condition called CHS. It's called Through My Eyes, Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome, CHS. It talks about one person's affliction with it. CHS causes abdominal pain, nausea, and vomiting, and the vomiting can result in dehydration. This dehydration can lead to a type of kidney failure that experts refer to as cannabinoid hyperemesis acute renal failure, and in severe cases, it can even result in death. The reason why I know so much about this is that it happened to my son. I'm reading a third-person article.
Zach does not have
I
a
don't
son.
have a son that died from CHS.
Yes.
My first introduction to CHS was in April 2018 when my 17-year-old son Brian was diagnosed at an emergency room in Indianapolis. Brian had been living with his father at the time, and he called me because he had been vomiting for 3 days. When I went to pick him up to take him to the ER, we had to stop about 5 times on the way so that he could vomit. He began to complain of numbness and tingling in his face during the ride, which led me to become more concerned. We arrived at the ER, and while registering, he continued to vomit. He was finding it difficult to speak, and his muscles became contracted. For a moment, I thought that he was having a seizure or a stroke. While I was moving my car, the staff took Brian to a room which they directed me to on my return. When I arrived, there were 3 nurses and a doctor in the room already. Brian had an oxygen mask on. They were putting an IV in each arm, and they had already taken blood to send to the lab. The doctor said that the muscle contraction was due to an anxiety attack and that Brian was severely dehydrated. Another doctor asked Brian if he smoked marijuana, and he said that he did. She was the one who made the diagnosis of CHS. The team gave Brian both Haldol and Phenergen, which helped his vomiting improve. The blood work results came back, showing that his kidneys were failing and that all of his levels were out of the normal range. As a result, the doctor decided to admit Brian to the hospital so that they can continue to monitor his blood work. His levels slowly improved overnight, and he was released after 24 hours. Brian agreed to quit smoking until he was able to see a gastroenterologist, which was scheduled for 45 days after his release. We had never heard of marijuana causing nausea or vomiting and were only familiar with its various health benefits, so we did not believe that CHS was what Brian had. He was not a daily smoker, and he had been smoking on and off for about 3 years before he developed symptoms. Brian was also experiencing symptoms even after he had quit smoking, which caused us to doubt the diagnosis further. However, the gastroenterologist agreed with the CHS diagnosis and ordered more blood work. In the meantime, Brian began using marijuana again, and for several weeks he did not have any symptoms at all. In October 2018, Brian began vomiting again, and I decided to take him to the ER. I told the doctors about the CHS diagnosis, and tests revealed that his kidneys were shutting down once more. The doctor decided that Brian needed to be at a children's hospital to receive specialized care. They agreed with the CHS diagnosis and ordered monitoring of his levels, which improved with the rehydration again. Brian went back on his depression medication, and the doctor recommended counseling. There is a history of depression in our family, and Brian had developed it during pre-adolescence. The team released Brian and told us to follow up with his pediatrician as necessary. A couple weeks later, Brian was restless during the night and complained about the acid reflux that he had since infancy. I asked if he had taken his medication, and he said yes, so we both went back to bed. Brian woke up at about 11 a.m. the next morning and came into my room to lie on my bed. He began vomiting in the afternoon, so I called his pediatrician, who told me that they would send a prescription over to the pharmacy for his vomiting. I went to the pharmacy, and when I received the prescription, I realized that it was the same medication that he was currently taking for vomiting. I called the doctor when I got home and cried to them because I felt like I was slowly watching my son die.
Jesus.
He had lost more than 40 pounds in a matter of months. The doctor was clueless as to what to do to help Brian quit smoking and suggested that we could try a stress center. They also decided to send a suppository to the pharmacy for the vomiting. While waiting for the prescription, in between cooking dinner and watching my grandson, I was taking care of Brian when he said to me, "Mom, I'm going to quit smoking. I can't do this anymore." He vomited several times. He then grabbed his back and began to complain that it was hurting. I immediately thought about his kidneys and called 911. I told them all of this information and history, and as we were waiting for the emergency medical technicians, Brian said, "Mom, I can't breathe." I walked to the side of the bed asking what he meant, and he repeated, "I can't breathe." I turned him over and saw he had stopped breathing, so I began CPR. I yelled for my daughter's boyfriend, who went to get our neighbor, a Navy veteran, to help. He took over the CPR and believed that he felt a pulse. The paramedics arrived shortly after. They tried to occupy me by asking questions, and I gave them all the information I could. I kept trying to go into the room while they were working on him, but they wouldn't let me. Then an EMT came out and said that it wasn't looking good. I'm not sure if I called my family or if someone else did, but during this time my sister had shown up. I remember begging and pleading with God not to take my baby and to take me instead. After about 30 minutes, the EMT came out and told me my son was gone.
Damn.
Brian's father arrived a short time later, and I had to tell him that our son was dead. There were several people in and out of the house during this time, including police, firefighters, EMTs, and detectives. In the state of Indiana, if anyone under the age of 18 dies, the death requires investigation as a homicide. The next week was a blur as we tried to make funeral arrangements and the necessary money. We were fortunate enough to find a church that paid $1,500 towards Brian's funeral arrangements, and with what we had from family, we were able to have a funeral. Brian was cremated so that he could be home with his family. An autopsy took place, and we waited for the results. I would call every day to see whether the results were in, but for months I heard nothing. Finally, on March 6th, 2019, my birthday, I was able to pick up the autopsy report. The official cause of death was dehydration due to cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. At this point, I started my journey into CHS awareness. I joined a CHS Facebook group and created CHS awareness in Brian's memory. I contacted the news channel RTV6 Indianapolis and was interviewed on the station. Through the creation of the Facebook page and the news coverage that I received, I have been able to reach many people. I have also heard stories of others who had CHS symptoms. The emotional and physical toll of CHS has been devastating to some, as many sufferers were misdiagnosed and made many visits to the ER as a result. The financial and emotional effects of this are very stressful. Marijuana has many benefits for those who don't have CHS. Some people use it in low dosages to reduce depression, social anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and it can help relieve nausea and vomiting that occur due to chemotherapy. It may calm the muscle spasms that multiple sclerosis can cause, and some claim that it reduces seizures. There's also a belief that marijuana may help in opioid addiction recovery, and researchers are publishing new studies all the time, highlighting many other potential benefits. Yet, CHS is a very real condition. While it may only affect a small percentage of people, it can be deadly. It is my mission to raise awareness of CHS in the hope that others do not have to endure the same fate as Brian. Losing Brian has been the most traumatic event in our lives. He was such a positive person and always gave his friends good advice. He was a loving son whom I never thought I would have, and he was a best friend to his sisters. I want Brian's death not to be in vain, and I hope that he can continue to make an impact even in death. So that is one person's experience with CHS in the family. I had never heard about this before. I didn't know this was a thing.
Me either.
But apparently excessive, and I mean, even it said in the article that his use wasn't excessive. It was just on and off. But drug use, this specifically using cannabis, can cause dehydration and cause this syndrome, CHS. I imagine the best course of action would be to just stop smoking altogether, just stop using drugs altogether. It's the same thing I feel like with alcoholism. Like my dad, he drank a lot when he was younger, when I lived in the home with him, and he's been sober for I think 8 years now, and I'm super proud of him. But there are some people where that's the only solution. It's not, oh, I can drink less, oh, I can use drugs less. It's just you need to cut it all out in order to have any sort of benefits, in order for yourself to recover. And it's a hard thing to do. It definitely depends on the drug that you're using. It depends on the drug that you're addicted to. Alcohol is very difficult to cut out, which is why I'm very proud of him. And hopefully people with the same ailments, suffering from the same things, can follow the guidance and learn from the lessons of others in order to better themselves that way. But it's risky, it's dangerous, it's brutal. So that's why I picked drugs. I mean, drugs can be scary, but drugs also have many benefits. But everything in moderation. Everything in moderation, honestly, is what it comes down to.
Where's the beer?
It was dank, yo.
Jesus Christ.
Can I have your glass?
Yeah. It
smells just like weed. They really nailed the scent down, but the taste is just a little underwhelming.
I don't know. I wasn't really impressed.
I think now that it's a little warmer, you definitely taste a little more body and flavor of the beer.
It does smell a lot like weed.
Yeah. They really nailed it, what's the expression? Something on the nose? They,
Pinned a rose on your nose.
Pinned a rose on your nose. Pin the tail on the donkey.
You could just say nailed it.
They really pinned the tail on the donkey with this beer, as far as the smell goes.
That's how I use that term.
Yeah, I'm going to start using it all the time now.
That's a good idea.
But the taste, not my, definitely not. It tastes, definitely not a favorite of mine. I've enjoyed a lot of the American IPAs we've had since we started, and this one's towards the bottom. What about you?
I wasn't blown away. I gave it an 8? I would have given it a 9. I was just not. There were just worse ones.
Yeah, so your number 9 was Precious Little Treats, the Imperial Stout. I actually like the stout better than this one.
No.
It's just because you're not a stout person.
I'm not a stout person. Well, I mean, I am a stout person. But I'm not a stout person.
Were there any stouts that you liked?
I don't think so.
That we had?
No, I take that back. I think I have made comments where it's just like, I could drink this, but in reality, it's like, I don't want to.
Was it like the peanut butter?
Probably.
Peanut butter
something
one?
like that.
That one was tasty.
Yeah. I think that was when I was going through my phase of trying to convince myself I like stouts. Now it's just...
Well, I mean, you've kind of turned around. Like, we mentioned this before at the beginning when we started. It's like you did not like IPAs, and then we've had a lot of IPAs that you really enjoyed. Maybe it's the same with stouts that you just haven't had.
It's going in a wave. I was like, I didn't like IPAs, and I started to like IPAs, and now I'm back down to not like.
Did you like
IPAs
Vlad? I can't remember.
No. I picked it.
That was a great episode.
Every stout I pick, I don't like.
And a great beer. I want to listen to that one again.
Okay.
Because we're the only listeners of our podcast.
Well, your fiance.
No, she's shaking her head no.
She don't listen either? She stopped?
She needs to catch up. She's on like episode 8.
What the fuck?
I know. This is episode 80, bub.
Yeah, you're a little far behind there, buddy. Guess it's time to tune back in. Okay, so Zach's calling off work.
No, I gotta go in. Beerandfearcast.com is our website. All of our episodes are available there to listen, or you can find them on every popular podcast platform: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you can find podcasts. We're probably on it, and if we're not on something that you listen to, let us know.
Or else.
Or else. That is a direct threat.
Yes.
And then Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you can keep up to date with our stuff. We release new episodes every week. Every Wednesday at noon is when we try to release episodes. Hasn't been working out great in the past few weeks. I've been a little late a few days.
Has not been.
But I'm really trying here. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Episode 80. Got 80 episodes down, 20 more.
I like that we did a trumpet for episode 10.
For
and
episode 10?
80, it's just... Wow, I wanna quit.
Well, episode 10 felt like a good thing, but episode 100 is gonna be great.
Okay.
Got some special stuff planned.
Oh, he's got special stuff planned. I didn't think so.
We'll figure it out as we go.
You have a good day.